Hello, welcome to episode 3, where we will be reviewing Zero no Tsukaima, or The Familiar of Zero. Now, unlike my past two episodes, this one will be focused on the entire series. The series itself is separated into 4 seasons, with the first one in 2006, then the second one in 2007, the third one in 2008, and the last one just this year in 2012. So I'll be compressing the plot a lot, seeing each season could take up an entire episode by itself. So I might break this episode into 2 parts, but we'll see where this takes me. Now, the scene mainly takes place in the alternate world that resembles medieval Europe. In fact, the countries reflect some countries in Europe. In this world, magic is real and can do amazing things. Now, the plot, like I just said, is pretty long. It focuses on Hiragawa Saito, an average teenage boy from our own world, who is suddenly taken to their world to be the familiar of Louise. I'll say her full name, but it's a really big name that, for lack of a better word for it, is French. The conflict is between Tristan and Albion, the countries of Tristan and Albion. The season ends with the start of a war between the two countries, but Saito ending the first battle with the use of a World War II Japanese Zero fighter plane. Now, the second season, Saito's standing remains the same. He's still considered like a citizen, kind of a plebeian, a commoner, basically. But however, Louise's standing kind of improves a bit as she becomes, like, for lack of better words, a spy for the Queen. For internal affairs and whatnot. The main antagonist group is the group that was behind the downfall of the Albion royal family and led to the war between Albion and Tristan. Essentially, in the last episode of the anime, of that season, one of the ministers for the Queen asked Louise to be a scapegoat, but Saito refusing to allow that to happen, he tricked Louise into drinking some wine with a sleeping potion in it, and he himself went off to go fight off the invading army. He succeeds in holding them off, but dies in the process. Through mysterious means at this point, he is revived and returns at the end of the episode. Although this leads to events in season 3, as obviously the group was not defeated, and as they were still using the Albion army. Now, let's see. Oh, 2.5 minutes. Okay. I was planning on ending this here, but however, now, for the third season, it introduces a new character, Tiffania Westwood. She's the person who revived Saito and is later revealed to be the rightful heir to the throne of Albion after the fall of the royal family. She is the cousin of Queen Tristan. Okay? Before she appeared, the Prince of Albion is the cousin of Henrietta, who is the Queen of Tristan. They're involved in their own little love story, but however, he died and whatnot. And since I think Henrietta said that Tiffania was like an illegitimate child of like a Duke of Albion or something like that, but making her like a cousin or something. I don't know. Let's see. Where was I? Oh, okay. Okay, so the first part of this season is where they focus on bringing her out of the forest where she lives secludedly. And because of the events at the end of the previous season, Saito's standing increases and he becomes a knight for the Queen. So he essentially becomes a noble. Now, the conflict with the group that caused Albion's attack on Tristan is revealed to be the king of the country Gallia. He is the insane King Joseph. And for various reasons, he's trying to gather up all 4 void mages, who I forgot to mention is Louise, Tiffania, and Joseph himself. At this point, the 4th one was not revealed, and a complicated plot of capturing Tabitha, his niece, the rightful heir to the throne, in order to secure his own standing as the king, he uses an extremely large stone golem. Saito and the gang defeats the golem, and Tabitha is revealed to be the proper ruler of, and while she is in Tristan. For seeing Joseph still alive, other countries do not view her as the same just yet, but that ends the season. Now, in season 4 is the last season. As of right now, it's considered the last season. I mean, I read somewhere that they're no longer doing another season or something, but okay. Now the conflict on this season is actually split into 2 parts. The first part is still Joseph, but he later on is killed halfway into the series, thus ending his role and returning the throne to Tabitha. For everything that he has done, Saito is awarded land from the queen, and essentially making him a true noble, as he's a landlord now. Now, for most part of the second half, it focuses on Saito. He no longer lives in the school like he did with Louise before, but as he lives on the land now. Let's see. Later on when the series is focusing on his life now, he is kidnapped by elves along with Tiffania due to her half-elf nature, which I forgot to mention as well. But they are rescued by Louise, who learns a new spell that essentially is a transportation spell, and is enhanced by Saito's new powers that he gained by becoming Tiffania's familiar as well. The final conflict is between the world and an ancient dragon that's bent on destruction. Shortly before they started the final fight, Louise sent Saito back to his own world. Because of Saito's new power, they believe that if he uses it all up, he will die. So sending him back was to prevent that from happening. But Saito found a way back through the use of an eclipse. And you know what happens. It acts as a portal. In order to use that, somehow, one way or another, he steals a fighter jet from a military base. Ridiculous as it sounds, and uses that to go back to Louise's world and assist in defeating the dragon, which was already weakened by the army of Tristan, with the assistance of the elves, and an explosion attack from Louise, so he weakened it again by using up all the missiles. So they're in the last leg of the fight. Minor detail, Louise saw the fighter jet, transported herself into the cockpit with Saito, and then they get into a fight, but however, he still fights with her, comforting her, saying that he won't die and whatnot. So, using his powers to enhance, he enhances Louise's explosion spell. Before she finishes it, he ejects both him and Louise out of the cockpit, lets the fighter jet ram into the dragon, weakening it even more. You'd expect at this point it would have died because of that, but however, she then casts an explosion spell, finally defeating the dragon. Now, let's see, where was I? Okay, because of this enhancement, or it uses up all his powers as the second familiar or some of that. He was a little bit weakened, and let's see, where was I? He kind of acted dead, though in a funny turn of event, he turns it into a proposal, and the series ends basically with his wedding with Louise. Louise then gains better control over her spell and is able to easily transport Saito back to and back from his world, where they go on a date, which ends with him introducing his new bride to his parents. Although the episode ends with when Saito is with Louise, who are holding hands and about to press the doorbell. Let's see, 8:40. Okay, I'll try to get through the characters. Let's see. Okay, the first character is Saito Hiraga, or whatever. I can't pronounce it. His character, I have to say, is pretty standard. I mean, he's like the leader of the group, becoming the pivot wheel that connects everyone. He's friends with Colbert, who is interested in his world for the advanced technology and the lack of wars. He was the love interest to Kirke, becomes the new love interest for Tabitha, falls in love with Louise, who in exchange does the same as well. For his bravery, he befriends Guiche after the fight. He's not a bad protagonist, but he is not an outstanding one. He's like basically the standard Harlem protagonist. Now next is Louise. She's a standard tsundere. Tsundere. I think that's wrong. Initially, she's harsh on Saito, but later on loving towards him, as evidence of their wedding. As one of the four void mages, that's really the only unique aspect of her, as the lolly part is outdone by Tabitha, who becomes queen, while Louise becomes second in line for the throne of Tristan. Personally, the only reason why I kind of like her is because she's voiced by Rei